Hello, 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 hello. Let me just switch this over to comments. Right, here we go. So, bit of an impromptu, random kind of stream. What I thought I'd do is just go over a little bit about my past in terms of my sort of training, my first job. What I trained as. The reason being, on Mighty Meat streams recently, I've been getting chatting sometimes to Kaiser Pineapple. Great guy. And it seems that me and him have some similarities in terms of sort of just background of not so much career, but kind of a hobby. Although for me it was a career for a while, and that's to do with like model making. So I noticed that on his streams he does a lot of working on models, paint jobs. At the moment he's working on a Star Wars A-wing like model. It's about, I don't know, I think it's about that big, and he's basically sort of improving on it. It's like, it comes with like a basic paint job. So I think he stripped that back, primed it, and he's sort of doing it all really nice sort of thing. And now, obviously, I haven't really sort of said much on stream about what I actually do. So what I thought I would do is just share a little bit about when I went to university, what I trained as. I've got some pictures which I will show and present in a minute. I just want to check something just in the background here. If I go to my studio, I never actually check the live thing on YouTube itself, and I really should. I wonder if it'll let me see. Go live. I'm already live. Right. Click on this one. Aha! Ooh. I can see I have a viewer. Nice. Okay. I better mute that. That's muted. Pause that. Sorry, I know this is really boring for the moment. Right, here we go. Let me just change it back. Okay, so I will start presenting images. So if I edit this, and if I click over here, present, I'm going to share full screen. This one here. Woo! There we go. Okay, so that looks like a whole blurry amount of nothing. I'm just going to zoom out on this. It's just a photograph here. So it's a photograph of a photograph. So this was around about the year 2000. 1 second, I'll just try and mute while I just have a swig of this drink. So yeah, so I went to university the year of 99 through for 3 years. So here's me in the foreground here. And it's one of my university friends underneath here. So we were just messing around here with learning about casting. So we thought, well, we'll just get a load of cheap I can't even speak, dental alginate, the kind of blue stuff that they put in your mouth if they're doing casts of your teeth. You can use that to do casts of feet, hands, all that kind of stuff. So we had a load of materials, and we just thought one evening, we'd go in there and we'd do casts of each other's heads. So I actually drew the short straw. I had to have it done to me first. I think this is the second one, I think. So my friend Matt was in here. So we now you've got to make sure that if you do this, you wear like some kind of swim cap or something, and then loads of Vaseline over any hairy bits if you've got any sort of hairs on your face, like eyebrows in particular, like Vaseline on there and stuff. Because obviously the dental alginate, when it sticks, if you haven't done that, it'll take, when you try and take it off, it'll just be stuck, and you're going to lose your hair, you're going to lose your eyebrows and stuff. So hence the tub of Vaseline there in the background. nothing dodgy going on, honest. So this guy here, his name is Russell. We were working on this together. So that was just us sort of messing around doing some casting, learning to do, and they came out pretty well actually. Those plastic casts of our heads came out really well. So you do like a dental alginate around the actual head, and then you build up like a support structure with plaster. That's what I was doing on this picture. And then it's sort of in two parts. And then what you do is when you have the dental alginate for a head, you kind of got to cut it into two pieces so that the front bit comes off, the back bit comes off. And then you can sort of put it back together and sort of do your stuff inside and cast your plaster and what have you. It's usually the sort of one-off I can't even speak. Dental. Why can't I say dental tonight? Dental alginate is usually not doesn't last that long. It starts to dry up and shrink and stuff. So you usually get one cast out of it, and then it kind of rips apart. It's very, very strange stuff, but it's useful stuff. most of you watching will probably would be familiar with dental alginate at some point if you've ever had a braces done or a cast of your teeth done for braces. This is the same stuff. You can use it for model making. So that was that one. And then now during one of my summers at university, I went to work for a model making company for the summer. So if I bring this one up here, and we were working on some tank turrets. I think they were about 5th scale. It was just like a little mini sort of English tank. I'm not sure what it's called. Was it called a Warrior or something? I'm not entirely sure. So this was just the turret. We were making these. There was various different designs. So that was one of the turrets without the bits and pieces on. It's just great because I've only primed it. That wasn't like painted up yet. And then here was some of the bits here. So that's the spinny bit that the turret goes on. Sorry, my photograph was a bit blurry here. These were the little viewing things, just various little bits and pieces. I didn't actually get a picture of that because I'd finished there for the summer before they were actually fully finished and painted, so I didn't see what they looked like all done up. But apparently they look pretty cool. And so at uni, one of the projects was to do with casting and things like that, and also vacuum molding, where you. So this was a little project. I just made this little mini Noah's Ark sort of bath toy. So there's different elements. So the white plastic was just where we would make a sort of a wooden structure for the vacuum shrink wrapper thing. I forget what it's called now. It's been a long time, right? So I've forgotten the terms. But you would have basically a square bit of plastic which would heat up. These elements would make it all so it's all melty and floppy. You would put the design thing that you'd made underneath the wooden thing. You switch on a vacuum, and then you pull this lever, and it pulls the rubbery plastic because it's all soft down, and then the air jets suck it down into the shape that you've made. So this was in 2 pieces. So I did one for the top, one for the bottom. That was to make the little boat, just glued together. And then I'd made these little sculptures of Noah and the pig and what have you. And then for those, I just I think we used silicone rubber for the mold, so you could just cast as many of those as you wanted, and then paint them up, sort of thing. So that was that. I should say, by the way, if anybody wants to come and jump in on the stream itself, I will quite happily share a link in the chat in a bit, if anybody's about. I'm really rubbish with this kind of stuff. I mean, and I know people that do this regularly, they sort of like message out, or they put a broadcast that's going to be on, and then they message out to their friends and say, hey, come and join me. So I just kind of wing it. So somebody might turn up, they might not. We'll see. So that was that one. Now, when I was at uni, there was a Red Bull competition, and Red Bull basically sort of they gave a brief about how you could create some kind of sculpture. So this was my effort. Let me just. Sorry, I'm just going to mute for a second. So what I thought I would do is just take the Red Bull shape, cut it out of a block of polystyrene using like a hot wire. So I've got the void, the whole of that shape. And then I thought I would just build up mix up some resin, like it's like liquid with a bit of hardener. This kind of stuff you use for fiberglass. Pour a little bit in the bottom so it goes solid, and then I could sort of build up inside all these different bits of the cans and stuff, and then keep adding resin and bits of can and stuff until I had a sculpture. So I think I've got another picture of it which shows the angle a little bit better. Or have I? Oh, no, I didn't prepare that one. All right. Well, anyway, the upshot of that was, I mean, I didn't win the competition, but they did give some people a sort of an invite to a party down in London to sort of where all the artwork was showcased for the one showcased. What was that? Showcased for all the people that they deemed that their design was good enough to go to this party, and that was really great. I just got a cheap bus down there. I mean, it's the other the other side of the country from where I was, but there was like a cheap £10 coach that would get you there after about 6 hours or something. I thought, well, I'll just go there, and that was great fun. I had a bit of a schoolboy error though, because I didn't really have much money. I was a student, and there was a bar there, but and they were all doing obviously loads of Red Bulls, vodka Red Bulls, and all this kind of stuff. But I didn't really have much money with me, so I was just chatting to various people and stuff. And there was this, I think it was like a Japanese kind of like designer kind of guy there who's quite cool. And then it was near the end of the night though, and he was saying, "Oh, are you gonna? You haven't got a drink? You want to go get a drink?" I was like, "I haven't really got much money with me, so I'm not I'm not buying drinks." And he went, "It's a free bar. They put it on Red Bull. Red Bull have put it on." I was like, "Oh, are you kidding?" so yeah, I quickly went and got myself like one. It wasn't that long after that I had to go and get the coach back up halfway across the country. But yeah, I should have. I should have thought about that one, but you live and you learn. Maybe it was a good thing. Maybe I saved myself from being silly and having too many to drink. So that was that. Now, whilst at uni, I got a really good opportunity actually for there was somebody who was going to put a sculptor. Let me just bring this full screen in a second. So there was a sculptor who was putting in her design to try and get this job. They were building a big Debenhams, which is like a outdoor retail store. No, the kind of place where you can buy sofas and furniture and all this kind of stuff. They basically sold a bit of everything. Department store, is that the right word? Anyway, not really relevant. So up at this big shopping centre called the Metro Centre, the Debenhams was going to have like a sculpture put on it, this new Debenhams. And so obviously local artists and sculptors could sort of put in their bid and their idea for like why they should get the job, the commission, say like, this is my design, pick mine, and this is my design, pick mine. Well, there was a lady that had an idea for a design, and she had all the pictures and stuff. She designed it, but she didn't have a model. She wasn't a model maker. So she went to some model making firms and got some quotes, and probably obviously fell off a chair when she saw the prices because the labor costs. It's a skilled labor job. I don't know what she was quoted, but it would have been. I reckon it probably would have been a couple of grand or something. I don't know, for a model prototype for. And she was taking a risk because whatever she paid for this model was just to pitch her idea. She's not necessarily going to get the job. So she's quite savvy. She's quite clever. What she thought she would do, she went to the university and went to the head of the model making department, my lecturer, and said, "Look, are any of your students? Have you got any students that are decent model makers that would maybe do this for cheaper price? This is what I want done," sort of thing. And he said, "Yeah, I can put that to them. It would have to be, they'd have to just do it in their own time. But I'm quite happy for them to do it. It's a good opportunity for them to learn to do some." And I guess he sort of said to her, "Look, take it on board that they are students. They haven't qualified yet." But she was like, "Yeah." And I put in a thing and said I would do it for her for £250. I think I worked out that the materials themselves would probably cost about £110 for the materials. And she went for it. She said, "Yeah, okay." So I was like, "All right, nice one. Yeah, no worries." So I got the pictures and the brief and the pictures and all that kind of stuff. Right, okay. And so I'm going to share this image, is what she wanted. Let me just scroll out a little bit and see if I can share screen. Is it this one? This one, right. Okay, so it's this kind of like container type structure with these. There was 5 of them, I think. Yeah, these silver ball things in. So this is the model that I made up for her. And I think it was 10th scale, only a 10th scale, because the real thing was going to be quite big. It was going to go on top of the roof of this shopping center thing. So what you can't really see in the picture as well here, but unless I zoom in, there is actually like little glass panes. So I had to use like very thin. I think it was like 1 mil clear plastic so it could curve and fit into all of these bits here. That was awkward to do. So these uprights had to have like little grooves milled into them so that the curved kind of plastic which represented the glass could sort of go in there. But anyway, so that was the thing I made for her. It was a fair bit of work, but I was a student, so it's all good experience. So she paid me £250. She took that off, and it paid off for her because with her pitch, she was able to do a model, give a model as well as just pictures. I think maybe it gave her the edge because she actually got the job. She got the commission. She got to do the sculpture. So if I do something, if I go just Newcastle, and I want the map, Google Maps. If I just go down the road a little bit, you've got, where is it now? Team Valley Estate. You should have the metro centre somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? Metro Centre, where have you gone? Sorry about this. Woefully unprepared again. Well, the A1? Right, okay. Let me just work this out. You go past the Angel of the North. You come up past Team Valley. Oh, mate, I haven't gone far enough. Here we go, Metro Centre. Right. So this is a big sort of shopping complex. And now Debenhams won't show on here anymore because they've actually gone out of business, I think. But the sculpture will still be there. Let's just see. I think you can see it from the road. I did not press that. Okay. Where has it gone? It's going to make me out to be a liar, isn't it? Police! Whoop, whoop, whoop! Sound of the police. That's the Marriott Hotel. Where's the Debenhams? Marks and Spencers. So the thing is, these are more modern pictures, November 2021. So it's not going to show Debenhams on there, but it should still see the sculpture somewhere. I'm not doing very well here, am I? I'm not doing well at all. Let me just go from this place called the Fed. Let's see. So you drive up here. I'm sure you used to see it from the road. Ah, ooh, I think we're starting to see it. It's near the Marriott. See that there? It's a little in the distance. Let me see if I can get a bit closer. Yes, boys. Now we're cooking. Oh, and there's a bush in the way. At least I know where it is now. You can kind of see in the distance there. That's it there. That's the real life thing. It's actually quite big. It's kind of big. If I go up on this slip road bit, maybe I'll look over the trees. Aha! Oh, here we go. Now we're talking. See that there? So that is the actual sculpture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it was 5 balls in there, wasn't it? So if I bring up the image again, where was it? There we go. So that was the 10th scale model that I made. There we go. And this is the real deal. So I don't know. Hopefully she made some decent money out of that. There we go. So it's not Debenhams anymore. I don't know what it is now. Beauty Club. Join today. No thanks. I think I'm beyond beauty treatments at this stage. So yeah. I'll be honest, I never really quite understood the concept of the whole thing. It just looks like a giant dustbin with some silver balls in it. But hey, I'm not a designer. But that was quite a cool little thing to have been involved with. So every time I drive past that, I can sort of think to myself, oh yeah, I made the model that she used for the pitch for that, and she got that job. So that was kind of cool. So that was at uni. So one of the things that I worked on at uni, which I thought was quite a cool project, one of my main sort of projects for the degree itself, I scaled up an American mousetrap. I think I did it 10 times the size. So obviously model making can go either way, because one of the reasons I wanted to get into model making was either to work on special effects for movies, like props, or maybe architectural models, that kind of thing. In particular, the movies. Unfortunately, what I didn't realize, obviously, nobody can foresee the future, but as I was getting into that industry, all the effects were starting to go down the CGI route. So things were in past, say, for example, in the late 70s, you got the Star Wars and all that, the likes of that. It was all all model stuff and props and all that kind of stuff. So there was loads of model making work in the movies, loads and loads. All sorts of stuff for model making, even product design. A lot more of the prototype stuff had to be a lot more model based, architectural stuff. Whereas now, even the architectural stuff, a lot of it is now just CGI, where you can walk through what the building's going to look like and stuff like that, without having the need to build a model. But yeah, back in the day, it was all model making. So I quite enjoyed working on this, using different materials. I mean, so this little, on the actual real thing, I had one. It's only about that big. I had one of the proper American mouse traps, and this little plate thing in here in the middle is obviously it's metal in the real deal. So I had to just sort of make it out of various plastics that I heated up and bent and cut and stuff, and then use various paint effects and sprays and things to try and make it look like the just a bigger scale of the real thing. And so where the sort of the ink bleeds into here and it doesn't look very good, that's on purpose, because I was doing an exact replica of how it looked. The little one looked, and that's where they're just mass produced and stamped with ink. That's how it looks. Some of it's a bit smudged. So I was just scaling everything up exactly 10 times the size. Some of this is actual metal, some of the bars. So that was good fun. They had like an oxyacetylene gun thing where you could like heat the metal up so it was like almost red hot, and then you could bend it in a vise and stuff like that. So that was good fun. Using that. I wonder how much that cost, that gas and stuff. I mean, back in the day, late 90s, it wasn't so much of an issue. Nowadays, probably costs a fortune. But whereas this coil in the middle, that's the spring, rather than that being actual metal, to make life easier, that was actually clear plastic. That was about, yay thick. And again, with that, I'd use a heat gun. It didn't have to be oxyacetylene for that would just burn through. But you could move a heat gun around so much that it didn't blister and stuff, just to get it warm and wobbly. And then bit by bit, I'd made like a core of wood. Like I'd used a lathe to get it at the right sort of angle where it tapers down, and then I sort of wrapped the plastic around that and wrapped it around it until I made the fake spring. Yeah, that was quite a good fun project. So once I did that, though, I also developed it a little bit, so that it had a mouse hold. I thought it'd be interesting as well to play about with it. So I had where a mouse was holding it open and eating a chunk of the cheese. Now that I took a photograph of a photograph, so that one's a little bit blurry. That's a little bit blurry. I hope the sound's working, by the way. I just never thought to actually test this. All right. Should be okay. I'm going to try and get a new headset as well to test out, just because this one's pretty cheap, but it would be good to have the two, so that if I'm going downstairs to stream late at night, I don't have to keep unplugging it. So I might do that. I might get a cheap one. Anyway, I'm waffling. Let me see if I've got a better picture of that. Here we go, little mousey. So there we go, it's a little ear. So what I did for that is I just kind of made like an armature inside, packed it out with stuff like just rolled up newspaper and stuff. And then I forget what I've coated the outer edge of it with. You can purchase these little fake eyes. I think for this one, because they were just black, I was able to just use like a black marble or something, which was a lot cheaper than buying the fake eyes. I think I used like a putty type stuff that you can mix together called Super Sculpey for the ears, because it would just happen to be kind of flesh colored anyway, and it's only a few pounds. And then for the hair, oh yeah, his little feet. For the hair, what I did is I just bought some cheap wigs and chopped them off, and then I was just building it up layer by layer. So I would be like sort of like having some kind of double-sided, or I can't remember if I used that or super glue or whatever, but it took ages. That took ages. Like doing a layer and then the next one above, so it hid where it was glued on, and then the next layer above and stuff, until eventually I had this mouse. And that was a bit of an afterthought. I had originally just done that on its own, the mouse trap, and then I thought, man, I think it maybe needs something extra, so made the little mouse. Yeah, that because I had a certain deadline on it. There were some things there where I did about 3 days with only maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep in between, and man, that was a surreal experience because I had to get it done for the deadline. But yeah, so that was that one. So the mouse and got the mouse trap. This is the mouse trap just on its own. Again, a bit of a blurry picture. Victor mousetrap, that's it. Victor. It was like an American brand, but the ones in the UK were a little bit dull. They didn't really have much color or anything. Whereas I quite liked the Victor one because it had this little the V and then the sort of the little mouse sort of picture within it and stuff like that. So I thought it was a more interesting one to replicate. So I did that. Oh yeah, I've forgotten something. Earlier on at uni, one of the first projects we were given. Let me just make this big screen. One of the first projects we were given a 12-inch square, just of either wood or cardboard or whatever it was, and then you had to pick out of a hat a piece of paper, and it would have a theme on it. And so as model makers, they would say, right, you've got to depict whatever you pull out, whatever that word is, you've got to make your 12-inch square into that, depict that thing. So I picked out Rome, or was it Roman? It was either Rome or Rome. I think I don't think it was Rome. I think it was Roman. So like Roman times. So I thought, okay. So what I did was this. Oh, I need to share screen. That helps. Really does help if I actually click the share screen button. There we go. So let me zoom out here. So I had my 12-inch square of wood, and I had to depict Roman times. So what I did is on top of it, I just got a thin layer of this kind of blue styrene, polystyrene type stuff, and I used just like a hot wire to sort of angle as if it was the edge of a stone and like a little gutter bit on the side, and then use knife and sandpaper and stuff like that to sort of like give it some texture. Sprayed it up a bit, used a bit of PVA glue and some sand to sort of create like as if it looks like stone. Here, just literally glued in some dirt from outside, just got some dirt, dried it a little bit, glued it in. And then this foot is my foot, but it's actually just a plaster cast of my foot. So again, use that dental alginate. Why can I not say it? Dental alginate stuff I was talking about earlier. And made a plaster cast of my foot, and then just painted it to sort of look flesh colored. Just got some cheap bits of leather from, I think it was like some kind of, what do you call it? Some kind of shop nearby that just, they had some scraps of leather because they made, I don't know, handbags or whatever it was. I was a student, so I went to go and to try and find stuff for cheap rather than or free, rather than paying any money. So just sewed that together to make like the sandal. And then just, I think it was just a replica Roman coin I got cheap. Rather than making that, I think I managed to find a replica Roman coin, stuck that on. So that was it. So that was just on a little 12-inch bit of square wood. And yeah, I think that depicted Roman quite well. I forget what kind of themes the other people got, but obviously we concentrate on your own work trying to pass your exams. And one thing as well, I quite like the idea of sort of model making for advertising. So there was a one where back in the day, I'm talking, this is back when, CD players, before MP3 players came out, it was mostly like either Walkmans or, those personal CD players that they were about that big that you could walk around with plugged in. One second, I'll just take a bit of a drink. Right, there we go. So the only thing is with those, if you were mobile, if you were with them, if you were jogging or walking, they could skip, because the movement could. So some of them had like anti-shock kind of technology, which would supposedly stop that. So if you were walking briskly, or you were jogging, then your music wouldn't skip. So I came up with an idea for an advert for that, where let me see, I did like these. In the background, there would be these little personal CD Walkman things, and they would be freaking out, like there'd be an explosion in the background, and they would all be jumping like, ugh! Apart from the product I was trying to advertise, which would be really cool and calm and collected. So oops, that's the wrong button. So this was like the smallest one that was in the background. So you can see it's got eyes going everywhere, mouth going, and sort of this, you can't really sort of see it in there, but the little detail in the jacks that I used for feet, I had to use lathe to make all the little ends, make them look as they should. And because obviously it wasn't the size of an actual one, I couldn't use an actual one. I had to manufacture them, which was all part of the degree, showing the different skills and machines that you could use to do this kind of thing. So, and then the other one on the other side was this one. Again, it's a little bit fuzzy. So this one was actually starting to come apart, and then it actually says, you can't see there because it's too fuzzy, it was like on the little display, digital display type of thing. And then out front was Mr. Cool. And Mr. Cool in this instance was Sony CD Walkman. Again, it's a bit fuzzy because I took a photograph of a photograph. And he's got a smile on his face, wearing his shades, and he's just hands in his pockets, cool as a cucumber while they freak out. And then that was just the image. And then obviously you would use graphic design elements to add like explosion in the background and your tagline for your advert and all that kind of stuff. So that was one of the things I worked on. I was quite pleased with that one, the way that came out. I was quite happy with my work on that one. So that was that. And then there was also this. I designed a bathroom like with a see-through clear bath. So again, it was using the vacuum packer type. Is it no, not vacuum packer, vacuum former. I always forget what it was called. To make like a bath that was clear. Oh, I have somebody with me. Hey, man bun, how you doing? Thank you very much. Dropping the like and some love. You're very welcome. And if you ever want to jump on stream sometime, you're always welcome. But yeah, so I'm just basically showcasing some of the stuff I used to work on back when I was a model maker, when I studied as a model maker, and then I actually got a job as a model maker, which I haven't gone into just yet. But I'll do that in a second. So this one is, I just toyed with the idea of like a wooden bathroom where it's like layers of wood with the shape of the bath cut out. And then I also designed this kind of shower curtain thing that drops down out of a wooden box where it's like a concertina, a bit like a fan. But it was like, in this instance, it was like plastic sheets, so it would create like the barrier. I think I've got a better angle of this somewhere else. Let me see if I can find it. It is, here we go, edit. Again, it's fuzzy because photograph of a photograph. But this way you can sort of see what you would see if you were looking inside the bath. You would see the layers of wood, it was clear bath. And you can see a bit more of the concertina thing of this plastic invention. So it was like this little wooden box would have a door that would open, and then this would fall down and be like your shower curtain for your shower. So again, just a fun little project there for uni. There was that one. And then I moved on. I worked at a prototyping company for a while. We were doing prototype parts. And then after that, it was mostly sort of architectural model making. So if I share here, you can see this. You can see the size of it. There's like a mug. These were just little models of new developments and stuff like that. That's an unfinished one, obviously, but I've got plenty of these to share actually. Oh, thank you. Cheers, man bun. Yeah, I quite like that bath thing. Quite like the idea of it, like a see-through one and stuff with the wood. But yeah, I can't remember what mark I got for that. Because I think a lot of it was marked overall, especially if it was the final year. But I passed my degree anyway, so I got the qualification. And so let's see. This gives another little insight into what sort of scale these ones were. Quite small. So you got the tiny little fake people, cars. See tubs of glue here, masking tape, super glue. Typical model maker's desk is the right state all the time. And yeah, so we had a spray booth in this particular place, so you could do all the different bits and effects on the roofs and things like that. When it comes to buildings as well, you've actually got to make the color of the walls a little bit lighter than the actual paint, because you have this effect in real life where you'll notice if you look into the distance, if you look into the distance, things start to get lighter the further away they are. And so the same with, like, say, if you're looking at a wall or a brick house, if you're up close to it, the brick will look a sort of darker than if you're sort of further away and you look at it, it's a slightly lighter shade. And so because we're doing models of little things like this, you've kind of got to fake into it that effect. So if you actually painted these things, the actual color of the roof and the brick and that, it wouldn't look right. It would look too bold and too dark, and it wouldn't look how it should look. Oh, you work on bathroom and kitchen remodels. Nice. Can I make you a full-size one, functioning one? I haven't. That would be amazing, but what would I need for that? Some kind of massive vacuum forming thing to do the clear plastic stuff and all that. Cost a fortune, but it would be a cool design. I mean, some people do have clear glasses. Sorry, clear baths now, don't they? But they tend to be more like glass, I think, or whatever. But yeah, and I've never seen it with that sort of design with the layers of the wood before. What are you saying? And then bring it to the US. Oh yeah, because that's cheap. Try and get a plane ticket for me in my bathtub, please. You'd be cheaper building one over there, man bun. Cool. So what else have I got? What else have I got? It's mostly architectural ones. So I mean, the reason for these was kind of like at the time when you've got new housing developments, new what do you call them? Like housing estates being built, new builds. Quite often it's just a big field, and they maybe have like one show home where they start to build, and the rest of it is just plots. So when they're trying to sell them, trying to flog them, they used to invest in having us build a model because then they could use it as a selling tool. So if somebody goes into the show home, and then they could say, right, let's say they were trying to show to this person, this would be your plot here, you know, for example, for whatever price. And then they could show them the shape of the garden, how the sun would go over from east to west, and say, yeah, you know, you'd get the lovely sun in your garden here, and you got this nice car parking space here and stuff like that. So they could use it as a selling guide to show them what the overall picture is going to look like. Because of course, when the people get there, it's just a muddy field, you know, until a year or so into the development. So they used to invest in that. I think nowadays, again, like I was saying earlier, I think it's a lot more just CGI. They'll just use like almost like a VR type of thing to sort of do an animation to show people what it's going to look like. I don't know if they really much still deal with the models anymore. You often see them in big buildings still, like large hotels and stuff. Sometimes in the lobby they'll have a case with the model in there from when the architect was doing their thing. Like I'm sure in Die Hard the movie, I'm sure there's a scene at one point where they go through a bit and you see or they're in one room and you see the model of the tower block. And me being insufferable, I would always say to my wife, like, "Ah, look, see, model." That's what I used to do. But yeah, especially for film sets as well. Like say back in the day when it was all the special effects was mostly models. They'll somewhere in the distance there'll be an overworked and underpaid model maker who hasn't had much sleep, running on lots of coffee, making things in the props department. So here we go. More of the same. I was only at this particular firm for about 11 months, I think it was, and then I sort of switched careers because it was a skilled labour job for not skilled labour wages at that point. So I kind of got out of the model making game in terms of, in terms of like a job, paid job. I got out of there. It's still an interest in terms of a hobby. I sometimes try and invent the odd thing, like that daft invention for cutting blind cords that I've put on my YouTube channel. Although that's not the greatest idea, but you know, I'll have a go. There's a sculpture thing I might be working on soon, so it's kind of better because when it's your job, when it's what you do for a living, it kind of sorry for the glitching on the screen, by the way. The camera, I don't know why the camera does that. Oh, hang on, you just put a comment about that, haven't you? Not to throw you off, but your camera is doing a weird flashy thing. Yes, it is. I can see your comment there before it comes to StreamYard. I'm waiting for it to come to StreamYard. I can't even see it yet. Come on, StreamYard, get with the program. I thought it was only like 10 seconds behind. It must be like 30 seconds behind. Actually, I don't think StreamYard likes me. I don't think it's even going to show me your comment. Sorry about this, man, but I'm trying to fix something. Yeah, something's a bit broken. But yeah, I can see the flashy thing. Hopefully it's not annoying you. I'm just going to have to live with it because if I do this, if I stop cam, I think it's still... Does it still? Oh, no, it doesn't flash. But I think when I put it back on, it still doesn't fix it. Maybe I'll do this, and then that way it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, I've derailed myself there, haven't I? What was I talking about? I was talking about the model making industry. Oh, special effects. Yeah. I was talking about how like back in the day, obviously there was so much of it, and then I got into the industry just at the wrong time because then everything went CGI. Okay, I can see your comments over here. Ever since I saw Beetlejuice, I thought it'd be cool to do a town model. Yeah. Oh, do you know what I really liked about that movie as a kid was the faces were like when they did that thing when they pulled and stretched the face out stuff. See, there's model making there with the whole kind of the face thing. Oh, there we go. Your comments are starting to come up now. There we go. Not paying much. No, I mean I don't know about every single person in the industry, but from my experience, when I was doing the architectural models and stuff, I was making only a slight bit more than minimum wage, so it wasn't really skilled labor. If you got other skilled labor like a plasterer or a plumber or an electrician, somebody who's got a trade, they were making more than us model makers. But I'd had to do a full degree and to get my model making qualification and learn all the different tools and materials and things to do with making molds and casting and all that kind of stuff, and spray painting and everything. Yeah, it was a skilled labor job, but it wasn't skilled labor wages. And I ended up for a while getting like an office job, which was closer to me. I didn't have to pay to go through a tunnel that goes under a river called the Tyne Tunnel every day and commute and pay loads more petrol. And I did less hours, and I ended up with more money. So I just thought I'm going to have to jump ship here because this industry is not the best. So, yeah, because yeah. Also, there's that thing where, yes, although I enjoy the model making thing, once you make it your job, it kind of takes a lot of the enjoyment out of it. Particularly when there's deadlines looming. The thing with the model making is as well, it's the kind of job that you don't switch off from mentally, because when you come home, you think to yourself, right, when I get in tomorrow, I've got to spray paint that. While that's drying, I can cut this piece, and then I also need to sand that bit down and get that cut out and stuck onto that. So whilst that's doing, I can spray paint this other bit, and then it's always in your mind, and you're thinking about the overall deadline as well. You're thinking, right, okay, it's got to be finished by such and such a date. So ideally, I want to have this section and this amount of it finished by then. And yeah, it's always it's one of those ones very hard to switch off from. Whereas there are other jobs where literally as soon as it finishes, that's it, you're away, and you don't even have to think about it until you get back the next day. So yeah, it depends on the job. But I quite like the fact that I've got a job now that I can just, when it finishes, it's just finished. I don't have to think about it till the next day till I'm at work, and then I just go into work mode. So that means that as well, if I want to do any model making now, it can be for fun. It can be if I want to try and invent something, if I want to, like Kaiser does. Kaiser like the A-wing. I thought that was really cool. The A-wing he's working on. It's more for fun. So I don't know if you missed out on some of these pictures earlier, Man Bun. If you're interested, you can sort of go back later and just sort of quickly scroll through and see some of the things I worked on. Let me just put that bathroom back up again there for you. You like that one? There you go. So it's kind of a wooden layers with the see-through bath. Little box that opens up, and then the concertina thing there for the shower. What do you call it? Why can't I not English? Why can't I not? My brain's not working today. Sorry. And then that little shelving unit for you to put your shampoo on and stuff. I just sort of kept it the same theme as that. Is that there? But yeah, it was a good fun degree. Even though I only worked in the industry for a few years before I changed career, I still think it was well worth doing, because obviously there's lots of stuff university is great for, social stuff. But all the skills, every skill that I learned there, you don't lose them. I can make any of this stuff now, and I know how to do it. I know which materials work with which materials. I know how to use a lathe. I know how to use various saws and sanders and millers and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was absolutely a worthwhile thing doing. Even if I only worked in the industry for a few years and moved on, you don't lose the skills. Scandinavian looking. Yes, that's it. That's the right words. Yes, that's kind of what I was sort of going for, I think. Have I got the other picture? Oh yeah, here's the other picture of it to show the scale of what the model was. Let me just. So you can see there's a plug there and a little light. So it's not very big. This was only about, I don't know, this yay big. It was just like the bath was only like a little one. I think the module I was doing was just to hang on, let me get this comment off. There we go. I think that module was just to showcase our use of the vacuum molder, where this device would hold like a square of whatever material we put in it, like white plastic, clear plastic, or whatever, and it had like an oven like element things above it where you switch it on, you heat it so that it starts to dip and bow. Once it gets to that sort of soft stage, you put your wooden thing that you've created underneath with the holes in it for the vacuum suction in place, switch on the vacuum, and then pull this big lever which pulls it over your mold. Is that the right word? I don't know. See, I've lost the terminology, but I know what it is. And then you have the suction on as well, and it sucks it down. And that's how I made the bath shape out of the clear plastic using this vacuum former thing. So yeah, so it was up to us what we did to sort of showcase that we knew how to use it. I just happened to thought, well, if I'm going to, yeah, I'll just design a little bathroom and make a clear bath, and that's where I'll show them that I know how the device is used and show that I can competently use it and integrate it into a design. But yeah, I agree, kind of Scandinavian looking. Yeah. I'm not posh enough to have that as my real bath, but I can make a model of it. All right. So that is that for the model making section. I don't think, I'll just have a quick look. I don't think I've got any other photos here. There were other projects I was involved with and model making and stuff like that. But those are just the ones I got photos of that I can share. Again, this was good fun, just doing the casts of each other's heads. Poor Matt, it was his turn. Like I say, I had to go first though. I drew this. We actually drew the sort of lots, and I lost, so I had to be the first one to be experimented on. You've got to have a large element of trust when you're doing that, because you've only got the little holes for your nose to breathe through, and we sort of put straws to make sure it was safe, and then the dental allergen. We just had to make sure that the airways were clear. But obviously, there was a good group of lads at the model making course. We all trusted each other. But yes, man, it was a little bit scary. But yeah, no, I knew these lads well. They're still friends now. In fact, two of them, they're not on this picture. Two of them set up an ice sculpting company called Glacial Art over in Liverpool. Let me see if I can bring Glacial Art up. They do some really good stuff. So they were model makers for a while, and then they used those sort of skills and sculpting skills to get into ice sculpting. Sculptors. So, in fact, actually, this guy here, I think this is Matt with the curly hair. He's actually the guy that is inside that cast that we were doing. Yeah, there he is. There's Matt. It's Irish Matt. He was inside that thing that you could see where his head was encased. So, there he is. That's one of my friends from uni. Oh, he was actually in the advert. Nice. Oh, I love it, man. But ice sculpting, very cool. Yeah. It was very cool indeed. So they do all these. In fact, see if I can make this image bigger of them. They do ice bars, ice luges, all this kind of stuff. Like if people are doing weddings, sometimes they want like an ice luge where you pour your drink down. You make, or for parties, you go to the end of this like shoot thing, and you pour a shot down it, and it goes down then into your mouth. One of the coolest ones I did for that was a James Bond one. So it was like the Walther PPK at an angle, the gun, and it was an ice luge as well. So you could pour your drink down, and it would go down the barrel, and then you would drink out at the end. They've done all sorts of stuff now. They've been in business quite a few years, but yeah, good friends. Let me just bring that back. Wow, indeed, yeah, they're very talented guys. In fact, I know what I should have done. I should have got the pictures up here, but I haven't got them. They do a show where they come sort of one of the cities just nearby me, and we went there last year with the kids, and then the kids can have a little go at ice sculpting. They have a big block of ice, and they let people line up, and they let the kids do it. And they do like a show as well, where there's like this fire going up in the air and stuff while he's doing some live sculpting with a chainsaw and stuff. Yeah, so that's another one where they didn't technically go career model making all the way because they sort of diversified, but they took those skills. They were model makers for a while, and then they went and thought we can use this to learn ice sculpting, because they saw a niche in the market where there wasn't really many ice sculptors apart from down London. And these guys were from sort of Liverpool way. Well, one of them was from Liverpool. And they looked at it and thought, there's nothing serving the north of England here for ice sculptures, so we could get in there, and that's what they did. Yeah, yes, yeah, like a very posh version of a beer bong. Yeah. Actually, I wonder if I can. I'll Google. I will Google glacial art ice luge and see if there's any of those. Glacial Art Ice Luge. Helps if I spell it right, because, you know, I'm not very good at that. Images. Let's share screen. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's the other guy. So that's the other Matt Challoner, Scouse lad. In fact, at uni, he was terrible because he just didn't get hangovers right. So if we were going out anywhere, he was always encouraging people like, "Yeah, let's do this, that, shots." I was like, "Well, no, Matt, whoa, no, because I will die the next day." whereas, whereas he, I don't know what it was. He just didn't get hangovers. But great guy, really nice guy. Oh, hey Kaiser, what's up, dude? Dude, how you doing? I was just talking about you earlier. All good things. All good things. You might see later if you go to the start of the stream at some point. I was talking about how the thing about model making and how we sort of have that in common with you working on that A-wing and, you know, the spray painting and all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of went over some photos of some of the stuff I worked on. And I have now gone on to just talking about some of the guys I was at uni with on the model making course, and a couple of them have started a ice sculpting business now. I was trying to find an image of the ice luge that you drink out of because they're really cool fun. This might be one of them. Oh no, I think that's just a promotional thing for a liquor thing. Yeah, it was for twitching. Yeah, you knew I was talking about, yeah. But don't worry, it was all good. It was all good things. Oh, here's one of the ice luges because it's. See if I can bring this up bigger on the screen. Oh no, it's gonna. Nope, it's just gonna troll me. But yeah, so you can pour a drink down it and stuff. I wonder if I can do the James Bond one, Glacial Art James Bond. That was really cool. They actually did a little bit of work on Game of Thrones as well. There was a scene in Game of Thrones where the Ice King was holding like a little baby and he was walking into the circle, and around the circle there was all these big sort of ice things going up a bit like horns sort of thing. And for that they didn't want to special effects it. They went over to Ireland to make the actual big ice blocks of these things. So that was really cool for them. They got to do that. It was a good gig. Yeah, I'm not going to find this ice luge of the Walther PP. Is it PPK or PP7? Why my brain's not working? If I was American, I would know exactly which gun it was. The Walther PPK, isn't it? Why am I thinking PP7? It's not PP7. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. Looking through pictures. While you're here, guys, let me just show you. I'll just show you some of the images. And click edit. Click share. So I'm bring this back. This was just like a little mini Noah's Ark model, just using the vacuum former to make the basic shape, and then added the little sculptures and the little. Oh yeah, I forgot the little Noah's head bobbed up and down as well on a spring. Oh yeah, no, okay. Man Bunting, Kaiser must have left. He would know that. No, he knew. He's there. He's there. Well, for PPK 7.6 up 5mm. Right, so that's where the 7. I knew there was a 7 somewhere. So it's the round size. Okay, is that right? Does it fire a smaller round than a 9mm then? I don't know why. I just assumed that well, for PPK fired 9mm, but maybe I guess it doesn't. I don't know that much about guns. You'll have to educate me on that. Yeah, here he is. Yeah. Yep, he's there. So Kaiser, I'll just show you this. When I was an architectural model maker, this was mainly the kind of things that we were working on, stuff like this. Just, you know, the little. In fact, if I get one with the desk, so you can see. I don't know if you work really tidily or not, but the model making firms I worked at, not so much. So you can see here like cups of paint and things, and the glues and just stuff all over the place. Yeah. In fact, actually, that reminds me of something. Let me just change this here. Right, here we go. So when they did the Star Wars prequels, I think in the 90s, they wanted to make some more R2D2s, and obviously the one in the original obviously was that there was a problem getting it to move around without it falling over and stuff. So they commissioned like a kind of a British engineering and model making firm and an American one to do one each. I think I saw this on a documentary a little bit about them, and it was so funny because the British one was so stereotypical of just a British work unit where it was like, stuff's everywhere and machinery, and there was a guy with a tab hanging out of his mouth with long hair drilling in this thing, and then it showed the American model shop, and it was like everything was like clean and tidy and pristine, and it just me, I was looking at it going like, that's not a model making workshop, what's going on there? But apparently they both came up with two different kind of designs, but they both worked pretty well, so they were able to use both of them on set. I think that was what happened. So what's this? Let me catch up on chats. I got you covered on movie firearms and in general. Yeah, nice. Good man to know. Got good knowledge. Okay, nice. Thanks for dropping by. Good to see you. Yep. I'm going to be actually finishing up this stream soon anyway. I've been in a while and I've got some groceries arriving soon. So they might be calling me any minute to say they're here. Got a little bit of time there. Very cool. My workspace is organized chaos. Yes, that's how I like it. Because we know where everything is. It might be all over the place while we're working, but yeah. Although saying that, there was a quite funny meme the other day, which was it was Kermit the Frog like looking this way and then looking that way, and it was said, was it me like every 5 seconds, like trying to find the tool that I literally just had in my hand like 5 seconds ago. Like where's it gone? I don't know if you get that a lot. Yeah, bye Nando. I think Manbun has already left, I think. But yeah, nice of you to stop by. Kaiser, did you want to jump on for a few minutes? Do you want me to send you a link, or are you a bit too busy for that? I'll just I'll give it 30 seconds to catch up because I know the chat's a little bit behind this frame. I'm such a boomer. I've just been talking away with muted, haven't I? So I was trying to say, Kaiser, if you want to jump on, I'm quite happy to put the link in the chat. And if you want to talk about anything that you want to do, or any sort of streams you've got upcoming, you can chill that a bit and talk about it and stuff. Okay, you got to throw a load of laundry in. Okay, no worries. That's the first time I've done that. I've seen people do that on stream all the time, where they're like, they're talking away and they're like, "Oh, I'm muted," and I'm like, "Yeah," schoolboy error, and then I've gone and done it. So yeah, I should be careful not to be too judgmental about that kind of thing. Oh, you got headphones so you can still listen while you're working. That's cool. I'm like that, I've got like downstairs. I've got like little what do you call them? The wireless headphone things, and it's only like a cheap one. They were like £20, and I don't understand why some people have like £200 ones. I'm like, but why? I don't know. I guess maybe they are better. I don't know, but for me, I've just got these £20 ones. But they're great for the kitchen. So if I'm like loading the dishwasher or tidying up something or whatever, like on a night time, I can be listening to streams and things. So yeah, I quite like that. And then that way, if you do have to go off and do something, you can still sort of keep up with a live stream. My problem is though that if they're showing something, I have to keep checking my phone to have a look at what they're showing on screen, or if I want to put a comment in. So I end up spending half the time just getting my phone back out again anyhow. But it is good to be able to have that just in your pocket while you're doing stuff. And the wireless headphone things work quite well for that. My definitely something going on with my camera though, with all this flickiness that it does. But sometimes it'll be fine. The whole stream will be fine. And then other times it'll just do this, like it's possessed. Guys, have you brought the bad spirits? Have you brought the unclean spirits into my camera? You've cast them away. I know you don't like them, so you've cast them. They've ended up in my camera, dude. Is there any pigs nearby? I need to cast them out. I'll tell you what I'll do is while you're doing your stuff, I will see if I can create the link and put it in the chat anyhow. And then that way, it's there for if you want to jump in when you get a chance. And it's been a while. Oh, here we go. Invite button. Of course, there's a great big button that says invite. They make it easier. I still make it hard somehow. So let's see. There we go. Pop that in the chat. And then somebody once said, "Oh, no, don't do that. You could get all sorts of weirdos coming in." But I don't mind. I don't get enough viewers for that anyhow. It's quite cool. Sometimes Shizzy, if Shizzy's about, he'll jump in. I actually haven't had Mighty Meat onto mine before. I think the timings don't really fit very well with you being on American time. Are you on Eastern time, Kaiser, or Central? Where are you on? I'm not actually sure where you are in the US. But that's the thing. Like when you do your evening streams, it's always like, for me, it's like 1:30 in the morning. And because this little office that I'm in is part of the bedroom, that meant I could never really use it because I would be disturbing my wife. I'd be waking up my wife. And oh, Eastern time, nice one. That's easy. Actually, Eastern I understand because my mum lives in Florida, so I know it's usually a 5-hour difference. But yeah, so the good thing is I tested the other week that old laptop, and it does do enough so I can join streams and just kind of do verbal stuff. I mean, it kind of worked with the camera as well, but if it's a nighttime stream, I prefer to just have the avatar on like this, and then I can just chat, and then I know that the laptop's going to be able to handle it. So it's been nice to be able to join you sometimes on the nighttime. Although I end up like finishing like 2:30, 3 in the morning. Don't know why I do it to myself, but it's because it's good fun. It's what we say in the UK. We call it good crack. Having some good crack, it doesn't mean having good banter with your mates. So I'll try and do that every now and then when I can. It just depends on what I've got in terms of kids, looking after kids and work and stuff, whether I've got the energy to stay up. But I will sometimes. Eastern time. Who was it the other day? Was it you and Meaty and that were on the stream? You were talking about the different time zones, and one of them was saying nobody uses Central Time, just nobody does. Just like stop it, just go by the Eastern or whatever. Yeah. Oh, I've got somebody else in. Doesn't tell me who, but Shizzy, if that's you, feel free to jump on. I've maybe got 20 minutes or so that I can stream for. While I'm doing that, I'll just have a quick look at the news headlines and see if there's anything interesting going on. Obviously, there's been a lot of interesting stuff with more Twitter drops and stuff like that. For me though, it's just things that we kind of all knew like 2 years ago, but like hopefully it's getting enough traction for like the normies to wake up and realize that they get lied to all the time by oh yep. Okay, are you ready? You okay for me to add you in? Kaiser, you ready? All good. Right, here we go.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
TikTok, time to rock. How you doing? Good to see you.
Hey, oh, it's been a Saturday up in here. That's for darn sure.
Yep. I had to think then, because I was thinking, are you on the same day as me? But yes, yeah, you'll be in Saturday. You're not that far behind.
Yeah, whenever I used to work for FedEx, long time ago, we had to do everything on what we called Zulu time. So it was literally what they call Greenwich Mean Time.
Oh, yeah, that's what. Yeah, because that goes right through London GMT. That's what we're on, obviously. In fact, I used to live in a little village called Louth in Lincolnshire, and that the GMT Greenwich Marine, like that line went all the way through there. And where there was like a takeaway where I was delivering pizzas for a summer, right next to the building there was like a plaque and with a line, and it was like it cuts through here. It's also the one from the Dan Brown movie, isn't it? From the book, the Sangreal line they called it, didn't it? The one that goes, because it goes all the way down through France and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, did you see that? Yeah, I think everybody saw that at some point. I forget what it's called.
I don't think I saw Angels and Demons. I saw Da Vinci Code, though.
That's it. Yeah, Da Vinci Code. That's my brain wasn't working. But thank you. That's the one that's the one I was thinking of.
So you got some progress on this thing.
Oh yeah, put it up nice and close. I want to see. It's looking cool. Yeah, I like the way because you add the little bits of the darkness to it to make it look weathered.
Yeah, the weathering and
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so I got the engine bells all cleaned up. I actually went through. So when I painted this thing, so I did my primer layer good and thick, used a nice heavy primer, kind of make sure it has a good base. And then the next layer on top of that, I did just straight steel color all over here, and then seal coated that, and then did all my other colors on top. So that way, whenever I had the opportunity, when I was going to start doing my weathering, I could just go within with like some 1000 grit sandpaper and just kind of catch those edges, strip that, get that nice little, you can see the steel poking through, like right there on the very front, especially like right on the nose.
Nice. Nice. I just realized I was talking again muted, but I was saying, yeah, it's nice because you can just cut it back a little bit and you've got those layers underneath, so it looks natural, like it's weathered through on a metal and paint kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah,
Good
that's cool.
stuff.
So did you say was your model making stuff more a hobby, or did some of your work ever sort of like link in as well with that? Or?
So I never did anything like any kind of like professional whatever with film and TV, although I wanted to. That was my original intention, was to go into special effects. However,
we're so alike in some ways. Yeah.
however, unfortunately, time, money, and the 2008 recession kind of jackknifed that whole idea.
Yeah, well, because you're younger than me as well, you would have already been at that stage where a lot of things were going CGI, whereas in the 80s it was models everywhere. Models for
Right.
props,
It
models
was
for special effects. So many models. Yeah.
because
In fact,
I remember.
sorry, go on.
Yeah, my dad, he did theater and work for a long time. He was stage crew manager, did some fantastic work with like set design and stages and stuff like that. So I grew up in the practical effects realm. Um, and then eventually I started like looking at schools and stuff like that to go into that. And then of course, like you said, like the practical effects were trying to be phased out in favor of more CG. And it's just unfortunate because I mean CG is a valuable tool. I don't want to completely shoot it down, but it is best used sparingly and in specific areas where you cannot do things with a practical effect, or it is better at helping to use shot compositing.
Yeah, mixing stuff together so you've got the real, and then in the background, if there's something too epic, you can't really have anything modeled. You can have like the CGI to show the rest of the thing if it's like a big spaceship or whatever. But
Right.
well, more background, I suppose, like the world itself. I get what you're saying with that. Yeah, I don't know if you ever saw. Did you ever see sort of a British sci-fi thing called Red Dwarf? Or have you heard of Red
I'm
Dwarf?
familiar with it, but I haven't actually seen it. It's been one of those. I'm trying to track it down so I can watch a copy of it.
It's quite funny. What I'm going to do is I'll bring up some imagery of it, because what was great is that all their special effects was all like of the little spaceships was all like models on strings and stuff. And sometimes
nice.
sometimes you could kind of tell, but it added to the charm of it. It was great. So I'm just going to see if I can share screen. If I do this one. So this was a crew. What was great about it as well is I loved it because it was a time where, like, I mean, England doesn't have this whole thing as much as America about going on about race and everything and stuff, but it was back in the era where, like, especially for the UK and sort of the 90s and stuff, just nobody cared, nobody even thought about it, and so
Right.
it's only looking back now we think, oh yeah, it was quite. There was only 4 main characters, and 2 of them would be classed as like minorities or whatever, so it was quite a diverse group, but like nobody even thought about it in those terms back then.
Right.
It was a funny. It's just that Craig Charles was a funny Scouse lad. And this guy who played the cat, who's like evolved from a cat, it was just hilarious as well. And then the guy who played Crichton is hilarious, the android. And Rimmer plays. Sorry, the guy who plays Rimmer is just, the character is a bit of a prick, but he plays it so well. I mean, he's a good actor, that guy. Anyway, he's in various things. And yeah, so here's some of the models. I was trying to sort of like. There was one called Starbug, in particular, where it was like a green ship. See if I can find it. Starbug. Here we go. There it is. I just love it's quite iconic. Oh, is there a Lego of it?
That's cool.
Oh no, it's not Lego. Oh yeah, yeah. But the concept of it's quite good. Do you know the concept of Red Dwarf, or do you want me to give you a brief thing? Just the premise.
I've just had it recommended to me. I haven't actually watched any of it, and I've heard a lot of people say good things, and I'm a big sci-fi guy, so Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you the premise because it's not any spoilers because you find this out in the first thing. But so the premise is that there's a really massive, big mining ship called the Red Dwarf. So it would go to various places, I guess, and then they'd go on these green star bugs to go and land, and they would mine, for whatever materials or whatever it was. So there's this huge ship that goes through space, and they're mining. And there was a guy on there, quite low down, sort of in the ranks, and he'd snuck a little kitten on board. And that was against the rules, regulations. So they had to put him in stasis, like a bit like a prison bit for the part of the journey or the rest of the journey, whatever. So they put him in stasis. But what they don't realize is while he's in stasis, hang on, just have to say hi to Kate.
Hey, Kate.
Hi, Kate. Thanks very much for coming and saying hi. Kate is one of the super mods for a really funny guy called the Angry Bootneck, who's a
cool.
British
cool.
Marine who he lives in America, in California, and he's just angry about politics and stuff. He's great. And is she saying hi? Hi, she's saying hi, Pineapple.
Heyo, how's it going?
That's our lovely Kate. So yeah, so the premise is, so he's put in stasis, but while he's in stasis, there's a nuclear leak breach thing that happens in the ship, and it kills all the crew. So the ship's computer has to keep him in stasis until the radiation levels are down. So it's like millions of years, right? So he just goes in there, comes out thinking he's been in there for however many weeks on the journey back to Earth, to find that the ship's then been drifting in one direction for however many millions of years, and he's the only guy on the ship. So there's only him, the ship's computer. The ship's computer has the ability to create one hologram of one crew member. So it does his boss, or the guy who was his boss, and then there's a cat. The cat's was pregnant with kittens, and it evolved. And so there's a humanoid type cat. It doesn't really explain what happens to all the rest of them, but that's cat. And then later on, I think it's like series 2 or something, they pick up this android, this robot called Crichton. And yeah, it's just that's the sort of premise. They're all just kind of marooned, stuck on this ship in the middle of nowhere, and there's various adventures. But it's a really good show, and it's funny.
That's cool.
I hope I'm not overselling it because it's been years since I've seen it. Hopefully, it still holds up over time. But I remember them being sort of good stories and good characters.
I love the charm of those older sci-fi series where they were just like, we're going to make what we want to make because we think it's interesting and fun, and we really don't give a crap about politics or social dynamics or anything like that. We're gonna tell interesting stories. We're gonna actually try to be science fiction. That's why I love Star Trek so much, and big fan going back all the way to TOS. I grew up in the era when the Next Generation was actually on TV as a kid, so I got to watch a lot of those episodes, like first premiere and stuff like that, and it was so cool.
Yeah, same.
Got a lot of fond memories.
Yeah, same with the Picard crew and all that. Yeah. Sorry, I'm missing things. Private chat. Oh no, it's just it's you telling me. Like 5 minutes ago. I'm so slow, really. I'm such a boom with this.
It takes some getting used to, and this is coming from somebody who's still trying to figure this crap out.
Yeah, I mean, I just do it for fun and see what happens with it.
Absolutely.
But I'm glad to see all of your channels growing. Mine's deceptive just because it's been around for so long, and because I picked up some people from my biker dancing years ago. It looks like I've got more subscribers than I think I really have. Like, because I think most of those people probably don't use YouTube or even know that they're subscribed to me.
The funny thing is, I actually started my YouTube channel, believe it or not, almost. God, how long was that? 2010, I want to say. And then I made like a couple of videos between 2010 and 2012 of like my home brewing and some of my other, my beer operation, whatnot. And then it was one of those, it petered out really quick, and I just did nothing with it. And there was like no growth. I think I had less than, 8 or 9 total subscribers, and they were just friends and family was all it was. And so when I decided to do this, I just purged out pretty much everything and gutted the channel, started over with, putting everything private, and then, rebranding and whatnot. And then I just started doing this just because, and there was actually a stream where Rackets was talking about, he's like, if you ever want to know if you're going to be successful as a streamer or not, I mean, the first thing you need to do is just show up. I'm like,
Yeah, you just got to keep.
Okay.
I think I heard somebody say, just keep posting, just keep posting, just keep. You just got to
Yeah.
keep creating content. If you, yeah. Oh, Kate is saying stuff that StreamYard's a little bit far behind. I sub to a few, but working home stuff, etc. Don't always have time to see all the lives. Yeah, that's understandable, Kate. I'm the same. There's lots of people where and some people, because people stream for so long as well, that you couldn't possibly watch everything. Like with the Angry
Oh
Bootleg,
yeah.
sometimes I'm usually working when he's on, so I can't always be in there. Sometimes I'll go in and try and put a comment on when I can. He's funny because he's just from down the road from where I live originally, but lives over in California.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, stuck in
It's
California, but I think he's in a bit of it that's not too commie.
yeah, it's kind of cool because like YouTube is such a and not with the whole live streaming thing is really interesting because even if you can't catch it live, you have the replay crew and you have the people that can come back to it and check in on it, and it's great to have because I mean, yeah, you would miss out on so much if you were just watching only live, and then after it went live or after it closed out, it's just gone. And I think that was an original idea that they had to try to make stuff exclusive, so that way you watch it live and that was it. But then they decided, no, let's just put it back up, and I'm like, that was a
Oh
brilliant
yeah,
plan.
I'm glad they did. Yeah, because otherwise you'd miss loads of stuff if it was only live and then it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so yeah, I'm always harsh on YouTube, but yeah, I should say fair play to YouTube when they make a good decision. So yeah.
Yeah.
Do we? I don't know anything about the new person because it's not Susan anymore. In fact, that's funny because
Uh,
the Angry Bootnet guy, whenever things are going wrong with his channel, he's always like Susan, and calling her, but he can't now. I don't know if the other guy's name's going to roll off the tongue so well. For,
yeah, Neil Mohan's his name.
Needle, did you say Needle?
Neil
Oh, Neil.
Mohan.
Oh, Neil. Okay,
Yeah.
Neil. Yeah, no, that's okay. I don't catch all the Boots lives these days. Aquafit, late working. Well, Kate, are you suggesting that you're allowed to have your own life? What's that all about? No, you have
What
to
is this? What's this? I don't
spare
I don't
time
have
doing your
I
own
haven't
thing.
had autonomy over my own life in a couple of years. I have a 2-year-old.
Yeah. 14-year-old and 7-year-old for me. Oh, that reminds me. No.
Oof.
Yeah, how is the little one? Because I know that your little one wasn't very well the other day. You had to get some medical.
Yeah, he's still got a cough, but he's doing better, and of course, with his issues that he's got anyway. I mean, he's so used to to being sick anymore that it really doesn't slow him down anyway.
Oh, good. So he's still kind of all right in himself then, is he? Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's just you kind of notice that he slows down a little bit more, maybe coughs a little bit and whatnot, and then we just go to the doctor, get what we need, and then he'll perk right back up. But yeah, it's a constant roller coaster with him. But I figure give it a couple of years and he'll probably start to even out a little bit more. I think he's just put it this way, I'm pretty sure this kid's immune system will be able to repel damn near anything.
yeah. Well, that's a good
Once
thing.
he hits a
That
certain
is,
age.
yeah, it's a good way to look at it. Obviously, if they're picking up stuff when they're young, that's helping build their immune system, antibodies to everything and stuff. When I was a kid, living in used to live in Germany for a bit. It was an RAF camp, so now my dad was in the Royal Air Force, and
Yep.
you used to play out there in the mud, throwing lumps of mud at each other, pretending they were grenades and all that kind of stuff. And it's it's
Yep.
good for you. It's good for your immune system. Now I'm hardly ever ill, ever. you know. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, that's you gotta get ill a little bit when you're a kid. Particularly when they go to the nursery and school and stuff, and they're mixing with other kids. They usually pick up all sort of colds and they get snotty noses all the time. But it serves them well later in life to build up that immune system.
absolutely.
But oh man, you wait until they're older. Have you got any older ones, or is it?
It's just him right now. We're hoping we can finally get some financial break on everything so we can start maybe socking away for a second one because we adopted, and let's just say it ain't happening any other way other than adoption. So we're doing what we can.
Okay, well, I was going to say you wait when he's older. Everything gets more expensive. and no, what was I going to say about them? I think you'll be okay with a boy. I've got 2 girls, so that's mine. I'm knackered. But they're good. They're good fun. But yeah, so, yeah, Kate was saying, what's Kate saying? Yeah, first few years they get everything. It's to build the immune system. And she was saying about how Boots, he's been in the gulag for a week. I think he got a strike off YouTube. I think he may have said some things about. There's somebody called Owen Jones, you probably not know. I think he's a British person who's very much like a kind of leftist, and I think he did a video basically saying how the guy was an idiot and YouTube didn't like it, as YouTube doesn't. You know. True. What's true? I don't know. I can't remember what I said at the time. This is the thing with the chat. There's about a 30-second delay, isn't there? Yeah. That's cool. But so yeah, what have you got coming up then? You got any streams planned?
Oh, indeed I do. This Wednesday is going to be fun. So this Wednesday is actually the third episode. Oh, sorry, wife is texting me. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Did I mess anything up?
Oh, I hope I haven't made you forget if you're supposed to be somewhere or doing something.
Oh no, she was asking me where her charge cable was for her phone, and she's like, I don't know where it was. Have you seen it? I'm like, I haven't. Last time I saw it, it was on the it was on the side table downstairs by the couch, but that was like a couple of days ago.
Yeah. I think we have several kicking around all over the place because some of the devices just use the same one anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You just plug it into the nearest one.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Wednesday of this week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we're doing the third episode of our Edge of Reality series and doing, kind of unexplained and that kind of stuff, but going to be covering.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to make you big there. I don't know how to
There
do
you go.
that.
That's fine. That's actually just perfect right there. Yeah, we're going to be covering the Bermuda Triangle and some famous disappearances there. Flight 19, the USS Cyclops and her sister ships, as well as the very strange story of the cabin cruiser Witchcraft and its disappearance.
Was that a plane or is that a boat?
It was a cabin cruiser as a boat.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Bermuda Triangle's definitely an interesting one. Because I know you started doing some of those subjects as well, haven't you? A bit like interesting places in the world or unsolved mysteries and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I don't know.
Definitely a big fan of that.
Do you ever sometimes catch the streams that Sleazy and Val do with the Sleazy Societies and like
I have them
Gebecki?
on the other screen.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Oh, of course, it's their reason that they usually do that. I'll have to catch up on that.
Yeah, they're live right now.
Tepe, I forget how you call it, that place in Turkey. Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe, yeah.
Yeah. See,
I'll be right back. I gotta grab something real quick. So
yeah, no worries.
Be right back.
Okay. I will also just check to make sure that the grocery shop and people are not calling me. No, I mean they're not supposed to come yet, but they usually come a little bit early. And if I'm in, I don't usually mind. I don't remember either one. You must be like me, Kate. I can barely remember what I was doing 10 minutes ago. So always put the fear of J in the Bermuda Triangle. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't want to be flying over it or having a boat going through it. There was various theories. I think there was something I saw about how, like, on the ocean floor there, they might think that there's some kind of structures there which cause magnetic interferences, so it interferes with people's compasses and things. People just get lost, and then they run out of fuel. And I don't know, but yeah, it's probably best to just sort of fly around it, I guess, which I think they probably do now. I don't know if that's maybe one I can ask Kaiser when he comes back. I wonder if he knows if they still actually avoid the area, or with the modern technology, whether it's not really an issue anymore. Something I haven't looked up, so yeah, I don't know what the answer to that is. Yeah, 1 second, I'll just mute myself. Some sort of vortex, you said? Yeah, something like that. I've not really looked into it, so I don't want to sort of speculate too much because I'll just make myself look like an idiot if I start talking about things I don't know about. But yeah, I think I remember seeing something about something on the ocean floor was one of the theories. Yeah. Cheers. See you Saturday night, Kate. I think you're a fellow Brit like myself from our conversations before. Yeah, so you'll be on 24 minutes past 8, 25 minutes past 8. So that's booze o'clock in my book. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I was supposed to mute that, and I didn't. So, trying to think. Oh yeah, I was going to look up the news. I've done all the model maker stuff.
Sorry about that.
No, worries. Good to see you back. In fact, actually, I have a question for you. Just talking about Bermuda Triangle. Do you know is it still an area that they still avoid on purpose if they can, or is it not really an issue with modern technology? Do they just fly straight over it, or do they still stay away? Do you know? I don't know.
Well, that's kind of thing, because there's really two schools of thought. There's the people who actually kind of like, yeah, we don't want to take the chance and you know, go over that area because there's just so many weird happenstance things that happen there. But then there's a number of just cases that are just weird. So I mean, there's some people that just don't. I mean, there's total skeptics, and they're just like, yeah, there's nothing there. It's probably just radar glitches and this and that, and whatever that cause these disappearances, and bunch of hooey,
Yeah.
as they say.
Especially the older ones where the technology wasn't so good. So it could be people getting lost, seeing little island and thinking it's other islands, going in the wrong direction, running out of fuel, all that kind of stuff. Which it might be a mix. Like I said, I think I'd seen something about some theory about something on the ocean floor that causes issues with the magnetism and messes with instruments. So there could be something in that. I don't know, but I'll not say too much. You're going to do a show on it, so
Yeah, there's a number of different things and a lot of different thoughts on the whole situation, and we're covering a couple of the most very mysterious ones that don't seem to make a whole lot of sense. So ones that are still unsolved to this day, and they still have not found anything of these. I mean, despite scouring hundreds of thousands of miles of ocean and sonar and doing all kinds of searching to find these, and they've never found a trace of any of these. I mean, there's a pretty famous case. This one I didn't actually originally set out to cover, but I might just kind of tangentially mention it.
Okay. Giant vacuum cleaner sucking up lost planes and boats.
The case of the Carol A. Deering. The Carol A. Deering is a 5-masted schooner. She was, set down and built in 1919. Well, she was found run aground off of Diamond Shoals near Cape Hatteras in North Carolina back on January 31st of 1921. They investigated, they looked over the entire ship, they ruled out foul play because it just basically looks like the entire crew and everybody just abandoned the vessel.
So it's like the US version of the Mary Celeste then.
Yeah, the Carol A. Deering and the Mary Celeste have a lot of commonalities, but what's even more interesting is that they ruled out a whole bunch of different things. There was some possibility they could have been involved with rum running, but even then, why would this thing? Bye, Kate.
So just say bye to Kate. Yeah, thanks very much for dropping in. Very nice of you to catch in for a few minutes. So have a good evening. Catch you later.
Yeah, it's like the question has just kind of raised a whole lot of different theories as to why the ship was abandoned, and they've never been able to substantiate anything. Because it just basically looks like everybody was doing their thing and then suddenly all got up and left. But they left in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, I know what my brother would say. He just, everything's like that, probably aliens in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and the Mary Celeste is a very interesting one to say. There's a whole lot of different theories as to what could have happened and whatnot, but yeah. The Carol A. Deering is just very strange because, yeah, she just washed up on shore. But it wasn't, I mean, there were missing lifeboats, missing life jackets, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it looks like more like evidence of people leaving. Yeah.
Not right. Mary Celeste. Part of the reason why I didn't want to really cover that one. Yeah, the three that I mentioned there were probably the three most compelling, like off the cuff. But yeah, you got a lot of very interesting, disappearances there that A lot of more modern ones have been kind of attributed to instrument failure or, some kind of other issue, mechanical failure that caused it. But then you have these others that just make utterly no sense at all.
And they're the interesting ones. Right, what I'm going to have to do, I'm actually going to have to cut the stream. I need to go and take my little one to bed, and then I've got some shopping's going to be arriving soon. So if you want to hang back for a second, we'll say our proper goodbyes if you want just after. But in terms of the stream, I'm going to end the broadcast. See everybody. Have a good one. Catch you later.
Bye, guys.